Good morning, folks. This is Corey from the Marks Group. I just got to turn my volume down a little bit. This is Corey again from the Marks Group, just doing our monthly tips and tricks webinar for Salesforce.com. Looking at our certain information here, just kind of pulling up a sample record. So just what we're going to do is our normal thing. Sorry as I catch my thoughts, just kind of jumped on this quickly. Was held up by something. So we're doing this today live for those that are joining me. Please, thank you for joining. Please use the chat if you have any questions and such. I do have everyone on mute right now just to kind of make sure that we have the time to get through all the 3 tips. As we normally do, every month we're going to post 3 new tips. 2 of the 3 tips today were actually written by another Salesforce consultant of ours named Becky. So if I stumble through a couple of them because I didn't write it and I'm kind of going through hers at the same time. The first one that we're going to do I did write, and then we're actually going to be posting up our new 3 for October later on this afternoon. They will go up. What we've done is, as you know, most of you probably know at this point, every month we'll do 3 tips. At the end of the month, we will do a video like we're doing right now, a webinar, that will go through each of those 3 tips and walk through it lightly, live, and kind of go through so you can actually see it, reference the video. If the text or the screenshots and such on the tips page is not enough for you. So as you can see, or as you probably know by now, marksgroup.net. If you want to go there, go to our CRM blog tab at the top. That allows you to see our Salesforce tips as well as any of the other tips that we have for our other products such as Zoho, Dynamics, and Goldmine if interested in those. Okay. We also have Office 365 tips. I should say that as well, because I know that is a big piece for us too. We have our Zoho, we have Salesforce, we have Office 365, which really comes in handy for those that are maybe not even using a CRM. There's an Outlook tip for this coming month, this afternoon. And so there's a few things out there that I do encourage you to look at, okay? So without further ado, let's just jump to it, okay? So what I went through, our first tip is actually dealing with lead settings, okay? There were some changes to the lead setting inside of, I think it was summer, maybe summer or possibly winter 2017. But I know the recent changes allow you to do things. If I look at a lead here and I create a lead and I look at just, let's just look at Sue, okay? If I look at Sue's lead here, this isn't the important part. Actually, I'm gonna go to Lightning, sorry. Let's go to Lightning Experience. Try and do the tips this way instead in Lightning if we can. Just makes things a little bit easier. And I know when it comes to what Becky was doing a little bit of both, that's why she switched off and on. But anyway, so if I look at Sue's record in here, and this is a lead record, as you know, all that information that's out there. And if I do a convert process, right, what it does is it opens up this, okay? And now we have the option of what we do with the opportunity, okay? So one thing that I always like Salesforce for the fact that I can convert and it gives me the option to choose the opportunity or create an opportunity, okay? Here, I'm actually going to show you how this, by default, is unchecked, and it looks like this. All right, I'm going to show you how to change those around and maybe even remove it altogether. Okay, so there's a couple things that we can do there to really kind of speed this process along. All right, usually what it used to be, it was always by default like this in Lightning or in Classic version, that it would create a new and you had to check the box to say don't create. Lightning is the same way. Okay, so we'll automatically create that opportunity for you. Okay, that's the way it's set up as out of the box. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to change these a little bit and kind of go through what each one does. So I'm going to go to my settings or my setup area, as usual, that we always go to, right? And I'm actually just going to search. It's easier. I can just do this and say lead. Okay, and then we've got in here lead settings. Okay, just want to make sure everyone's seeing my screen okay. Audience view, good, you're seeing this. Okay, excellent. And the microphone is picking up. Okay, so what we've got here is these lead settings. Now, what's new is this and this. Okay, so if I edit this, it's just what I have to do, but it's these two bottom sections that is there, right? So I'm going to do edit, and now what I've got is the ability to select this by default, so it automatically is not creating, instead of opt in to the do not create like I used to have to do, now I can actually opt in by unchecking to create the opportunity, or vice versa. No, that's right. So if I do this and say select don't create an opportunity, which is what I had before, as you remember when I did the convert, it's automatically checked as do not create. Okay. Now let's keep this tab open and go back. Now let's do this, save it, and let's reload this lead page. Okay. And by doing this, what happens is now I convert it, and you can see that right away it's already there. So you can see this is what it used to be. So that checkbox obviously is very, very valuable, right? Right in here. Let's edit this again. So I like this, okay? But now the other one that we can do, okay, which is really, really kind of nice, is that I can do this whole hide the whole thing, right? So I'm doing this a little bit backwards from the tip that I wrote, okay, because I focused on this one first. I'm going to do this, hide that, hide the opportunity section of the convert lead window. I actually kind of like this. So if I say save, now I go back to her, reload the page so I can take that setting, and I do a convert on it, right? Now do you see, we've got a count of the company that's going to be created, we've got a contact, and then my record stuff. But you notice there's a big missing section. That's huge for me, okay? Because I sometimes I like the opportunities, but there are clients of mine that just don't even use opportunities, or they're not ready to use an opportunity yet. A lead just converts to an account and contact, we make it a prospect, and we move on from there. This one, what we're looking at is to the ability to hide that, gives that option that it doesn't force them down a road they don't want to go. That's big, because other products that we sell, and like Dynamics, for instance, really big on the opportunity. Right away, we can't even get away from the opportunity. And what's worse is that you end up in the opportunity when you convert. So they really force it on you. Salesforce kind of forces it. Now in Lightning Edition, they want you to do that. You do the option, like I said, to default it not to. And then you also have this piece here that what we're looking at. You're looking at the piece here that I can just hide it all together. Okay, so give me a second on that, just real quick, and so then we'll just jump to the next one. Okay, so again, sorry to kind of have marbles in my mouth just then, reading something in text that came through. So we're gonna jump to the next tip at this point. But like I said, hiding this is an option. I like to save it like that and leave it just like that. Okay, going on to the next tip. Let's see here. I'm going to pause this for a second. Okay, so going on to tip number 2. All right, so if we get out of that one, let's go back to, we're just going to go to a formula page first. That would be the one that we're looking at here, adding a formula field to calculate age from another date field. Okay, let's see, I'm going to get out of this. Okay. So what's going to happen here is we've got adding a formula field to calculate age from another date field. Okay. Now this one is written by Becky, so I'm going to go through it, and you just got to bear with me if I'm kind of muddling through here and there. But what we're going to do is we're going to go to the contact field. So she's got the same thing. We're just going to go to contact. And what we've got in, actually, this is not what I want. I want to do setup and customize. So let's get rid of this. Contact, we want to actually go to the contact module, right? So object manager. And we're going to go to contacts. Now she did a little bit differently because I think she did it in classic. In Lightning, set up object manager, contact fields and relationships. So we're going to go to fields and relationships, which is right here. We're going to create new as a custom field, and a formula is what we're going to do. Okay. Now, in this case here, I do have a birth date field. Let's see here. So we're going to look for a field, like we've got birth date here, okay? What I'm doing is I'm just reviewing, because she created a new field called current age, and I think she added it and deleted it. So what we're going to do is we're going to create this new field from scratch and get it going this way, okay? So we've got birth date. What we're going to do is create a new field, and this new field is going to be a formula. Okay, so this actually really hasn't changed. Like this look and feel here, honestly, hasn't changed from classic. It's the same. We're going to call this current age. Oops, and then I gotta mess that because that's your field name, and the underscore, that's your API name is what they call it, of course, right? I believe we're going to call this a number because we just want a straight, flat out number, right? And if we don't want decimal places, which you really don't with a day and age or a current age, you're not going to need that. Okay, so we're just going to do decimal. I mean, if we want to do, 5.5 years old, you could do that as a decimal place and put it in there. It'll do the math, but it's a little wonky when you talk about 12 months in a year, and you can't really do a 0.10. Can't do decimals on that. So now what we're going to do is, and she's actually got this in the code in the tip. I'm just going to copy this and paste it in here. Okay. And so what the translation is basically, if the birth date field is not blank, that's this one right here, okay? And if the date is less than or equal to today, right? So if the date 2000, birth date, day, the month of the birthday, day, what this is, it's doing a math thing where you have 2000 or greater, right? Or if not, right? So if the month and the birth date is less than today, let's see the translation. Its first thing it's doing is it's checking to make sure that the field is not blank, then checking if the birth date, month, and day are less than or equal to today. So therefore what she did was she fixed the date as 2000, okay? And all it's doing is month and day, right, of the year, is it less than or equal to today? If you were to do, they were both apples to apples, the year 2000, okay? And if they are, then what you do is you say, then it's today, right? It's the year of today, right? Then subtract the year of today's date from the year of the birth date, okay? So it's that, right? Year of the birth date. It's kind of a weird kind of workaround is what we're doing here. It's actually kind of creative. I like it. So the year of today minus the year of the birthday, right? So that's going to give you your year. Now, if it is greater than today's date, so if the birth date is greater than what today is, let's say we're doing this September 25th. Let's say the birth date is November 5th. What it's going to do is it's going to do that year again, subtraction, but subtract another year because you haven't hit your birth date yet. And that's what this is, okay? Scroll down a little bit. Now you can do this with any date field, of course, right? It could be number of years as a subscription. It could be number of years on, renewals and subscriptions, and how long have they been a customer, and all these types of things you can do, and real easy. It would just be the same thing. It's just a date field. You just have to make sure that this is truly a date field, okay? Check the syntax like we do with any formula. It says boom, all good, right? And then what we do is click next, okay? Now, we're gonna click next here. Choose what page layouts the new fields are displayed on, as usual, okay? And then we can position it on the page, but we can also do read-only and kind of stuff, we can also do, so it says here, like she's got to keep read-only checked as the formula is driving the data. That's right, you can't even uncheck this, right? But the read-only, it's read-only because it's formula, right? Formula is actually creating the data. I can't do anything else, right? So I do this next, and now we go to save and new, or just save, or whichever we want to do. Save and new, it creates a new field. I'm actually going to go to the contact record though, and I want to go there, and I want to go to Alex. Let's see if Alex is in here. He's my son, right? I'm going to do this. He's got a record. I'm going to find down here in the detail area. Let's see if I can find his birth date. Okay, and we're going to put in 9/19/2006. Whoops, too bad I don't have numlock on. Okay, we save that. And now we have to look to see where was our current age field. So the current age field is probably, there it is right there, right? So he just had a birthday, so he's 12, and that's fine, right? Now let's see if I change it to 10/19 and I save it, it's gonna say 11. And there it is. And that's what that -1 is doing, because it's a simple thing, right? It's actually, like I said, very creative. As it seems simple, but that's what it is. If today's date and month is greater than the birth date, date, and month, if all things were equal in year, that's what determines whether it's a -1 or you keep it what it is. But then we get the 12. Okay, and that's what it is. So it's a date field. It's a nice little workaround to get things done. Like I said, you can use it for other things. Okay. Now, the other one that we're going to do is going to, let's just close out of this. We're going to go back to the custom report type is what we're going to end up doing. Now, this one I think I did visit a long time ago, but it's always a good one to go back to. And like I said, since Becky wrote this one, it's nice to get a different perspective on it and a different write-up, kind of give you a different way in and look at it. But what the bottom line is that when you're doing reports, if you look at like a new report, okay, and you're given this won't really change. This is where we've got all these different pieces, right? So you've got, like this one here is something I created special. I know I did. It's not out of the box. We have, you don't have orders, if you notice, okay? Like contracts with orders, fine. But do I have accounts with orders? I didn't see it. Right? And I can even do orders and see you've got contracts, orders. It says accounts with orders including products. Now, this is the one that we just built. So what I'm going to do is I'm wondering if I can actually delete this one, and we're going to recreate it. Okay. So we're going to go into here and we're going to go into setup as usual, as we always do, right? And we're going to go into report setup. Okay, so I'm going to search for report. I can do this, and that's fine. But what you get is report types. Okay, now report types is where you can actually create a custom one. So as I was saying before, accounts and orders with products, that's custom. That's not out there already, but you may want to create that report. When you go to the report module and you go to create a new report and you say new, and if it's not there, then we've got problems, right? Like if I wanted to do contacts with orders, I don't have it. You would think I can. This is contracts, not contacts, right? So there's sometimes that you'll do these orders and you're looking for stuff like here's leads, that's fine, here's accounts and contacts, here's contracts and orders. Oh, but I'm really missing what I need. Do I have orders with products? There's one there. Do I have quotes? That's fine, line items and all that, but maybe I want accounts and quotes, okay? And we can do that. Like actually I'm looking at right here if I can do accounts and quotes. So I don't have that, so let's create that one instead. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in and it says what is a custom report type, and it's pretty much something that you need to do because you don't have access to it in other words, it's not there out of the box. Okay, it's a different one-to-many relationship, as Salesforce calls it, the master detail. And all a master detail is, if I go back to Alex, okay, master detail is here's a master record and there's a case that's a detail record, right? Opportunities are detail records. Notes, attachments, anything that we have is what's quote unquote the related list is a detail record underneath that master relationship. Sometimes we go 2 tiers down though, and that's where it gets a little tricky. Okay, so this is your nice little, what does it look like? And I say continue. Okay, and I'm going to create a new one. So a list of these custom ones is already there. See, accounts and contacts, outer join, that was a custom that I built about 3 years ago, right? Opportunities with products, you see that? Believe it or not, opportunities with products, that is not an out of the box. I built that myself 2 years ago, right? And then the other day or last month, we had accounts with orders, including products. That's this one here that Becky built, right? And then we've got another one, duplicate warnings, potential duplicates. That's way back in. Okay, that's way back when. But you've also got the deployed, which is important because that means, is it active or not? Can I select it? So I'm going to do new, right? And I'm going to say the account is the primary. Okay, you always have to choose the primary record, right? And I'm also going to choose the deployed right away. And then I'm going to say, what am I going to call this? I'm going to call it, you know what? I want it as accounts with quotes and line items. Okay, description, where do I put it? You know what? I might put it with quotes. What section do I want to put it in? Meaning when I'm going through there, like where is it going to be? And so I just do that there. Okay, now, and you could also do other reports, you know, whatever you want to do, that's fine. You could do that. I'm actually going to put in quotes because I actually like this one. Okay, and I say next. And what's it telling me? It is telling me I must enter a value for description. Okay, used to link quotes and quote items to accounts. Now I'm winging it here, so I'm hoping this works. Okay, so now it says what's the primary object, and this is where it gets a little kind of wonky for you, and you're trying to figure out like how does this work, right? It's a little bit database management, as in primary, secondary. How does this, you know, kind of work for me? And so what you end up with is just making sure that you understand a little bit of database management and where things are. In this case, I'm going to say click to relate another object, and I'm going to say, what do I want? And I do not have quotes, do I? No, I bet you I have this though. There's quotes. That's what it's going to be. So I'm going to get rid of that for a second to show you. So what we have to do is, because the quote is not directly related to an account, I have to relate it to the opportunity first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create this account with opportunities, and I could go back and change the description a little bit, but I'm going to do accounts, opportunities, and quotes. What you saw me do is trial and error, okay? And that's what you're going to end up doing yourself, is trying to figure out what's that daisy chain of tables that I can get through to get to the right data point. So the accounts is the primary object, okay? Now when it says the A to B relationship, opportunities is the child object, the detail. Now this is where it gets really kind of wonky, okay? Those that know about what they call outer joins and inner joins with SQL queries and database queries, that's where this comes in here. Okay, so what type of relationship? Each A record must have at least one B record, meaning that I only want to bring back accounts with opportunities, or A records may or may not. So watch what happens this. When I do this, when we join these together, see there's blank spots? That's what's called an outer join, meaning that I can have opportunities that aren't there, and that's fine. I just want to get all my accounts and show me if they have an opportunity or not. Fine. In this case, I don't want to do that. I want to get it that I'm only going to see the opportunities and the accounts where they match up and they actually have one. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do as well, right, is I'm going to now go and add another one. Okay. And this is going to be my quotes. Right? And so here, each B record must have at least one C record, or I can do this and I can see, all the accounts with opportunities that may or may not have a quote. Okay, I'm going to do it this way. I just want to show it kind of line up nicely. I want to see everything. Okay, and that's what this is here. We're looking at this join area here. What's that going to show up? And I just save it. And if we wanted to, we could do another one. There's quote line items. And again, we could do this whole thing, and it's only going to show me those. I'm going to get rid of that because I don't want to kill ourselves here. But you notice you can only go 4. Now I'm going to save it. And by doing that, I now have a report type. And that's what it is. Now, if I go into my reports area and I go to reports and I say I want to do a new report and I search for quotes, or I go to here, there's quotes with quote line items and quote PS. I'm not seeing it. Why is that? Hold on. I want to see why it's not there. Unless I have to reload. Hold on. It is deployed, right? We did do deployed. It is in the quotes report category, right? There's the fields. This is that, blah, blah, blah. We're all good. So let's go in here and let's just do a reload and make sure. All right, I'm going to do a new report. And I want to see it show up there. There it is. So now it's there. I just had to give it a little time. Accounts with quotes and line items. Well, we could change that a little bit because it's not totally correct. Remember, I did it wrong. I hit continue here, and then it will say, oh, you don't have anything. So what are my filters? My accounts. Well, show me all accounts. Okay. Create a date. I don't need that. Let's do all. Let's do all time. And now, look at that. Right away, I've got an account with an opportunity with a quote. Okay, so I could even go quote line items as well, right? If I change that around again where I wouldn't see those, you're going to see blank spots, like maybe accounts with opportunities and which ones have quotes and which ones don't. So you're going to see it that way. And that's essentially what a custom report type is. And the bottom line is when you get here, you're here because you went and tried to create a report through the report wizard and you were not able to get there, right? You were you weren't able to either get there because the report type was not available, or you had a hard time getting the jump from here to there. You know, accounts and contacts is easy. Quotes and quote line items is easy. Contracts and orders, like they said, that's easy. It's out of the box. So that's the whole piece there that you're looking at, right? That piece alone allows you to kind of see, you know, what would drive you to go to the custom report type. And it's that. It's you hit a brick wall, had to go here. I just hope that this kind of helps you a little bit more as to how to get there and what to do with it, and then mess around from there. Okay, so apologize for me jumping around a little bit today. It's one of those weird Tuesdays for me, and a lot going on. And I know that's not your fault nor anyone's, but I appreciate your patience dealing with me as I go through these. Again, any direct emails, any questions that you have for me, I can be contacted at Corey, C-O-R-E-Y, at marksgroup.net, marksgroup.net. I recommend that you go ahead and look at our tips that are coming up. Like I said, by the end of the day today, I should have all 3 tips up for next month, and you could go ahead and look at those. The newsletters are going to come out, and I hope to see you in 3 to 4 weeks, last Tuesday of the month, when we do the next webinar. Okay? All right, you have a fantastic day, and thanks for attending, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye now.